Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So for those of you guys who just chance upon this video because you're looking out for content for AFK journey, welcome to the channel. For those of you guys who have been supporting me ever since I started releasing content videos for AFK journey, I really appreciate it as well. So I'm Zeeebo. I've been playing AFK journey for quite a while, ever since about 4 or 5 months back in the Pioneer testing server, and with AFK journey global server closely upon us, right, on the 27th of March. We're going to release a whole slew of content on the channel with regards to beginner's guide, tier list, like a bunch of advanced guides, hero reviews, as well as in-depth analysis with regards to the different aspects of the game. So if you guys are interested in all those contents, if you guys like what you guys see today, do remember to drop a like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And with that, let us begin today's video. Let's go. Okay, so just 3 to 4 months back, I actually released Witch Celestial / Hypogean unit to Pool 4 in version 1.0.10. So I would say that that video was done 3 to 4 months back, and some of the information has become, I'll say, outdated or slightly wrong, because as time passed by, we are able to see more full potentials of the unit because the whales are able to invest in them and then start to use them in the different game modes. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about like Scarlita, I'm going to talk about Dionel, I'm going to talk about Berial and Reiner's current meta usage, where they are good at, which group of players should get what. In fact, most people should go for Reiner. I'll talk about it why, and then talk about, you know, why these units are really good and what are the things to look out for when you are investing in this Celestial / Hypogean class of units. Without further ado, let's start with the first unit, which is Symmetric Sin Reiner. So this unit was heavily underestimated by me in the previous video because the dynamic balance thing was assumed to not be effective on Dream Realm bosses. But ever since then, ever since people started realizing that this skill itself actually applies on the Dream Realm bosses, Reiner has since been one of the most meta Dream Realm unit. It's like run in all the top damage comps, and he's crucial in boosting the damage output of your team to ensure you get more Dream Realm resources. So let's take a look at the kit. Right, I will skip the ultimate because this skill is not that relevant for Dream Realm. For dynamic balance, at the level start, Reiner switches an ally's position with an enemy if they are in symmetric positions. When the enemy takes damage, the ally restores HP equals to 45% of the enemy's taken damage till a battle ends. The total HP recovery amount by this is no more than 1000% attack of Reiner. So this skill, at first glance, is a continuous heal on the sword target, and very useful in Dream Realm because basically when you apply the debuff on the boss, whatever damage that your team do on the boss will regenerate HP for your ally that gets swapped over, right? That changes position. So what this means is that the unit basically doesn't die. If you combine this skill with other skills in Reiner's kit, let's continue. Right, hero focus, this one affects dynamic balance. Dynamic balance increases the target's attack by 7% when cast on an ally, or reduces the target's attack by 7% when cast on an enemy. So further increases this number. So it offers an attack buff on top of the HP regen. And if you go into the EX weapon skill, Reiner deals 200% damage to the enemy and knocks them down when casting dynamic balance. That's not the important part. Increasing their damage taken by 25% till the battle end. So this is the important part. This is the part that makes him really meta in Dream Realm, because 25% damage increase, right? It means that 25% damage increase from magical damage as well as physical teams. So both, like if you want to run a physical team, you can put Reiner in. If you run a magical team, you can put Reiner in. If you run a hybrid team, you can put Reiner in as well. So he's really versatile at that. And this 25% damage boost is the biggest number in terms of damage buffing in the whole game right now, making Reiner pretty much a must if you want to ensure top damage numbers in Dream Realm. So other than that, right, further increase in level increases the damage dealt when he uses this skill, but at level 3, it reduces the position switch allies damage taken by 25%. So you combine it with the recovery of the HP, that ally that gets swapped over, you'll think that that ally will die really easily because they'll be sent out of position. But in actual fact, they become really tanky because they get a 25% damage reduction. They get HP regen from the skill itself, and if they have some life steal or HP recovery mechanic that allows them to heal back their HP based on their attack. The attack buff actually makes them heal better, makes them tankier as well. So most of the time, like combined with the enhanced force, which further increases the allied hero attack by 4% until the battle ends, Reiner is like one of the best single target buffer in the game. Like, so now, in fact, he is the best single damage buffer, which makes him an excellent Dream Realm unit. So, coming back to the topic, who should invest in Reiner? Everybody should invest in him for the sole purpose that Dream Realm is a key source of income for some of the most important resources in the game. So this is Dream Realm, right? Reiner is one of the recommended unit. In fact, he is the recommended unit for all the bosses, right? We have 4 bosses over here that resets on a daily basis. Reiner is used in all the top teams for the 4 bosses. And the reason why I said that he should be put by everyone, whether or not you're a whale, whether or not you're a free-to-play player, is because Dream Realm is the only place where you actually get like your temporal essence right now, your tidal essence, as well as your dream fragment. So this comes at a daily reset basis. So getting a good rank, doing good damage in this game mode gives you this good source of income that further powers up your characters, further power ups your account. So that's why if you do not have Reiner, you're gonna lose out in terms of the ranking. That's why everybody should invest in him so you can keep up in terms of your damage, so you can ensure a constant source of dream fragment to exchange for A-level characters. You can ensure a constant source of tidal as well as temporal essence to upgrade the EX levels of the weapons of your unit. So that is the reason why Reiner is important. And on top of being a really powerful single target damage buffer, Reiner is also a really decent arena unit as well. So other than this single target buff that it can provide for one unit, as well as the ability to swap out an enemy out of position, so to give you an advantage, his ultimate itself allows Reiner to select an enemy, right? If your non-summon allies outnumbers non-summon enemy, Reiner will select one target, remove them from the battlefield for 10 seconds. Then your team can, basically he brings himself as well as the enemy out of the equation, and your team can just kill off the other enemies. And before the before the enemy that get transferred come back, if you kill off all the enemy, you're only left with that one guy over there. That guy's still gonna die really quickly as well. So this ultimate can be pretty game changing as well. Other than dealing quite a bit of damage, the control ability to remove 1 or 2 targets from the battlefield can sometimes just change the tides of the battle. So that's one thing to keep a lookout for. Mutual reflection, really good for PvP. Reiner in arena per se, I would say it's more used offensively than defensively, because his kit revolves around dynamic balance. So when you put him in the defensive position and when your enemy is attacking you, they can play around this. And if you don't actually get this skill off, you're actually wasting Reiner's potential. Therefore, this unit is better offensively to attack people than use defensively. So that's for Reiner. Pretty much a must-have for everyone, because just how important Dream Realm is for your constant source of essence. Yeah, everybody should go for him, especially if you're free to play. Like if you skip on him, you're gonna lose out on Dream Realm, you're gonna slow down in terms of your essence, and then you're gonna slow down in terms of your general account progression. So that's for Reiner. Next up, we have Scarlita. So for Scarlita case, she's actually second to Reiner in terms of versatility. Scarlita sees quite a bit of usage in top tier arena, and in one of the bosses team, I think Skyclops, in terms of highest damage comp. So you do have versatility in using her. You can use her as a shielder buffer, and she translates into a semi-carry with insta killing ability and true damage ability in the late game. But one thing about Scarlita, right? First of all, she is quite a late game centric character, because if you compare her to Reiner per se, if Reiner doesn't have his Supreme Plus, he's going to just lose like 4% buff on the carry, which is big, but not as big as Scarlita, because Scarlita's Enhanced Force ability increases the buff allies' physical and magical defense when she uses Valkyrie Spirit. And this value equals to 50% of her physical and magical defense. So Scarlita scales with stats. The more stats you have on her, the more these buff numbers are on the ally target, so making them super duper tanky. So in case you guys don't know Scarlita kit, I'm just gonna briefly run through the ultimate divine quick. She smashed the ground in a direction, create 3 tower wave, rock wave, dealing damage, right, and knocking enemies back. And she then charges and strike at the enemy, dealing more damage within the radius and stunning them. So this skill is increased by 10% for each surviving ally besides Scarlita, and she's unaffected when she's casting this skill. So further increase in level increases damage numbers as well as stun duration. So this ultimate is a massive slam on the floor, disable as many targets as possible, stun them, and hopefully insta kill them with her EX weapon ability, Divine Judgment. So Divine Judgment allows Scarlita to deal true damage if there's at least 4 surviving non-summon allies, and if you have her at level 2 is 3 surviving non-summon ally. And once you reach EX level 10, which is level 3, right, that's where you sort of see like the super powerful Sky of Scarlita, because if she's able to come down, she's able to slam the floor, right, and cause the enemy to drop below 20% within her 180% attack threshold. She's just gonna kick them out of the battlefield. Like the enemy is just gonna fly out, they get removed. So those units with invulnerability like Igor and Torrent, they don't become invuln, they just fly out of the field. So very anti-revival skill, and that's what makes Scarlita a really powerful late game character in that sense. And her second skill, Pure Cleanse, when the battle starts, Scarlita blinks to the back line, ascends to the sky and hovers above the battlefield. When in the air, she's invincible, recovers 40 energy per second, and increases attack by 2% until the battle ends. So when she enters 15 seconds into the battle, or when there's 2 or fewer surviving ally besides her, she will descend to the frontmost enemy, smashes the ground, deal damage, and further stunning them. So yeah, she's like this messiah type of character. She's gonna stand at the back of your team, get a buff for her for the first 15 seconds, and once she's fully charged, she's gonna descend. Right, she's gonna do her damage shenanigans, slam the floor, hit your enemies, stun them, and then hopefully kill them from there. So that's how Scarlita works. And then if you obviously, right, to make up for the loss of 1 unit in the first 15 seconds, she has a skill Valkyrie Spirit, where she sends the weakest non-summon ally a blessing while she's in the air. So she'll be in the air, grants them a shield based on the percentage of her HP, and every time Scarlita wields her axe after descending to the battlefield, she deals 135% damage to the enemy within a 2-tile arc. So basically this skill is the skill that allows her to keep your team healthy before she comes down, right? Provides them with a shield, provides them with a defensive buff with the enhanced force, as well as increases the damage of the other part of her kit. So yeah, that's pretty much how Scarlita works, right? Increase in execution increases her insta-killing ability. So overall, like if you take a look at Scarlita as a unit per se, her weakness is clear. You're gonna fight with only 4 units at the start of the battle. But the rewards are also really big because she's able to get if she's able to get all her buffs coming forward, she alone is enough to reverse the tides of the battle, because she can insta-kill and remove the enemy if they do reach this threshold. 20 to 25% is actually really easy to hit. If your enemy is not running a healer, they're not surviving Scarlita coming down. So that's what I would like to say, like in terms of arena. So Scarlita is really powerful there. But the issue with Scarlita is, I think, if you compare her to versatility to Reiner, like she just doesn't fare as well. And she's way more late game centric, like I mentioned multiple times. So if you want to invest in her, you really need to heavy commit, because I'm going to show you like my Scarlita on this account. So I do have her. Like I'm still 1 shot away to get her to Supreme Plus, and I still need quite a bit of temporal essence to get her to plus 15. So I believe if I get her to plus 15 as well as get her to Supreme Plus, she's gonna carry me a lot in the arena space. But before that, she is usable if you do get her EX level 3, but not as strong. So that's one thing that I would like to point out. So that's for Scarlita. She is definitely one of the best late game semi-carry in the arena. In fact, the top spender in the game right now, he runs up Scarlita, and like we have a few discussions and we both agree that Scarlita is actually one of the strongest reverse game changer, because if she's able to do what she wants to do, she simply wins you the PvP matchup. But outside of that, she's quite like you can use her because she deals true damage, decent damage there, but she's just not as, I'll say, like useful to like the low spenders compared to Reiner. So if you're somebody who's low spender, Scarlita shouldn't be your priority. But if you love Arena, if you love to have this reverse all kill insta killing ability, or you just don't like Torrent, Igor, or Brutus, units with insta revive or like skill set that keeps them alive for longer, then Scarlita is a good unit to go for. That's for Scarlita. Let us move on to the next unit. Okay, next up we're going to talk about Berial. So before I begin, I'll say Berial is an extremely PvP centric character. So if you do decide to commit on this character, he's going to just be a carry for you in PvP, but be rest assured he's really powerful there. So in my bracket, I think there's quite a few Berial users over here. So yeah, I just got attacked by one over here. As you can see, this person upgraded Berial to Supreme Plus with 5-star. Really annoying. Defensively, offensively, he's really powerful. I'm going to put some footages on screen to showcase what this unit can do if you're able to get him to this stage, but really annoying character there. I'm going to talk about his kit and why he's good for Arena. So for his kit itself, Ultimate Sacred Swarm allows him to fly beneath the enemy, hide within their shadow, and deal damage every 0.25 seconds and absorbing energy up to 5 seconds. So other than that, when he comes out from the shadow, he deals even more damage and frightens them for 4 seconds. So this frighten skill is quite disruptive. On top of that, the ability to do damage to the enemy and lower their energy regeneration is quite insane. Energy is very important in Arena, especially having the first movers advantage, so pretty insane. And then Shadow Trick, he becomes invincible, and when there are isolated enemies on the battlefield, Berial will move to each isolated target in turn to deal damage to them. And if there's no isolated enemy, if they're all clumped up together, he will just stay in the shadow, recover a total of 300% attack to his HP, and then returning to his original tau. So he is a isolated sniper from the second skill. So what happens for Berial is that if your units are out of position against him, he will be able to snipe them out really quickly. And this means that he has some sort of synergy with Reiner, where Reiner swap out one enemy to your side, and then Berial can snipe off that unit that gets swapped out, because that unit will be isolated on your team side. So that's one synergy. And third skill, Devil's Contract, he will hide within the shadow for 10 seconds after being defeated. However, during which if a non-summon enemy is taken down, Berial will revive from the vanquished enemy and return to the battlefield with 40% HP. So this is the revival skill, and this makes him really annoying because in Arena per se, as you get more and more stats, when you kill off Berial, you'll think that, hey, we got him, right? Then his team starts to kill off your unit. He will come back and do the annoying thing once again that he does. So that's how Berial works. Really good skill. In fact, I think any unit with revival skill, it can be quite game changing in Arena, because sometimes being able to just come back and do what they do once again can be really annoying. Then we have this Hero Focus, where he reduces damage dealt by an isolated enemy by up to 10% and increases their damage taken. So complements the Shadow Trick, which wants him to go after isolated enemies and do more damage to them, cause them to do less damage. So that's where Berial really shines. And for the EX weapon, Shadow Reflection, if non-summon enemies remains isolated for over 3 seconds, they lose 180 energy and generates a silhouette that inherits 50% of Berial's attack and HP and 100% of the other stats. The silhouette loses 8% of its max HP per second, and this effect can only be triggered once on the same target within 20 seconds, and the silhouette can only deal damage by normal attacks. So this is ultimate, right? So I'm going to show a battle on screen. So if you're able to get Berial to this stage, this ultimate is very disruptive, because if your enemy or if yourself, your units are out of position, right? He's able to start summoning Silhouette. The Silhouette is going to be really disruptive, kind of counters Seth in a certain way, because Seth is going to jump around and then Seth is somehow going to get chained and then so on and so forth. There's just a lot of mechanics there. But this skill is one of the most disruptive single target skill in the game, because being able to constantly generate Silhouette where your team will actually divert their attention to hit them, right, can be game changing. So that's one thing that Berial is really good at. But before I continue, I'd like to say that, like I mentioned earlier, Berial is really strictly an Arena unit. So if you are somebody who's not that interested in Arena, if you're somebody that's not a mega whale, honestly speaking, I think Berial it should not be your priority. Like, he's quite skippable because he's a unit that's really good if you max him out in arena, but most of the time arena is gonna be quite a whale fest, quite a big spenders fest. Like, people who are able to get unit maxed out very quickly is gonna have an advantage there. So if you do decide to commit to Berial and you don't do really well in other game modes, then if you don't do well in arena, right, then you're gonna lose out a lot, because this unit is supposed to be arena centric. But if you cannot compete with like the heavy spenders of your brackets, then investing in this unit will become relatively obsolete, right? But if you do decide to commit to him, be rest assured that he's going to be really powerful in arena, similar to Scarlita. So we have went through the 3 units, Reiner, Berial, as well as Scarlita. Scarlita as well as Berial, they are top tier arena units, with Scarlita being slightly more versatile because you can run her in certain comps for Dream Realm. As for Reiner, Reiner is the most versatile amongst the 4, because Reiner is good for Dream Realm, pretty much a must, and he can be used for arena in the offensive sense. Even defensively, you can try to run him, it's just that he's not optimal. So that's the current meta usage for these 3 units. As for the last unit, Dionel, right now there's just not a lot of people using him. I'm not gonna talk too much about Dionel's kit in today's video, because I actually have a video of a Dionel comp. I think this unit per se has a lot of potential because he's able to stack up a lot of buffs on himself based on how much buff he gets from the allies per se. But the current pool of units that is able to synergize with him is just not good enough to push him to a meta status. So in arena, I do see people trying to use him, but I don't think it's very successful. It is a very strong comp if you're able to pull it off, but most of the time your enemy is not going to let you do that, unfortunately. So that's for Dionel. Amongst the 4 units, he is right now the most skippable, unfortunately. But if you do like his design, if you do like his skill set and you want to give him a go, you can definitely try it. But honestly speaking, Dionel will be the one that I recommend most people to skip, right? You can go for Scarlita, you can go for Berial, because they are really strong if you do get them to the end game. And then you want to go for Reiner, obviously, because he's going to be very beneficial for you in like multiple contents. He's the most versatile, very useful everywhere. So that's why Reiner is the one that I encourage people to go for right now. In fact, I love Reiner myself, so I got him to Supreme. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this pulling opinion. Before I end off this video, I'd just like to say that no matter how powerful each of these units are, these units will require you to fully commit to them, to invest them to the highest tier, Supreme Plus, to unlock their full potential, right? You want to commit all your resources to them, because some of these units, especially the Berial and Scarlita, which are more arena centric, will benefit from the increased stats as well. So committing to the unit not only unlocks the skill kit, gives the unit more stats, so that allows this unit to do what they want. And these units are really powerful in the late game. Like, if you're able to pull them there, they're gonna like give you a massive advantage. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So hopefully this video is helpful for those of you guys who are in the dilemma as to which unit to go for. Pretty much shared where they are used at. If there's any massive changes moving forward, then I will probably release another video for that. So that's one thing that you guys can be assured for. If you guys like this video, do remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.